Good morning and welcome. Pick Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason on another Monday. I hope you're all rested up and had a great weekend. Yet, fall is here. It has finally arrived here in Arizona. The weather absolutely perfect. It's our time to brag. We get to brag that, hey, everything's beautiful, the weather's awesome, everyone's forgotten about 100 and, I don't even know, I think it was like 120 days where it was over 100 degrees in a row. But now, you got to remember, everything's relative. So anytime it's below 70, we got the jackets on, you got to get the jeans out of the closet, right? All that stuff. Good times. The courses are reopening after overseed. Everything is wonderful. Our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. And we warned you. We've been warning you. I'm going to say it, and I'll say it again and again and again and again. Get your gold and silver put away. What a performance by silver on Friday. We've been telling you, watch out for 32 and then 32.50. As soon as that happens, everybody better look out. Silver's been as high as $34.25 this morning. Silver was up over $2 on Friday. And here's the thing. Just getting started. Gold, same thing, new all-time record highs there, and a lot of activity. The 10-year note. What is happening? 417. A huge move in the 10-year note today. And Jason T. Rowe Price came out this morning and said 5% in the next 6 months is possible on this 10-year note. And the Fed's in a rate-cutting cycle, an overwhelming amount of debt. Who was it? I forget which bank, another one of the major players out there talking about get ready for quantitative easing by April. Again, I know there's an election coming up. I know. Got 2 weeks. Already, millions of people have already voted. So, but you got 2 weeks. And I know it matters. I get it. But it really doesn't. It matters to people, right? If you're Team Trump, right, you got to have Trump or you're going to lose your mind. If you're Team Harris, you got to have Harris or you're going to lose your mind. I get that part. But when it comes to just this show, this hour, it doesn't matter. I mean, I guess if you had nuclear war and everything else, and then nothing really else matters. But right now, the deficits that this country and the world are running, it's unsustainable. There's just not enough buyers to go around. And this is what is happening again this morning. Really, when you think about it right now, you got to be thinking flight to safety, right? Because you're thinking, okay, now Israel's on the record saying, hey, whatever we're doing, we're going for the knockout, and we're going to do it before the election. Well, okay, if you figure that we've talked him into, now I don't know, but I would imagine we probably told Israel, hey, do it on the weekend, right? Do us a favor and do it on a weekend. Well, that means it's either this weekend or next weekend. And you would think people would be running for cover in U.S. Treasuries. That's what they would normally have done. That's what they've done, I don't know, since after World War II. It's not what they're doing now. Don't forget, we have the BRICS meeting this week. Boy, what is going to come out of there? Nobody knows. It's a crapshoot. Right? Is it going to be the big bazooka that Russia wants? If it is, I'll make it simple for you. Add $100 to the gold price. And let's forget about talking about $30-something silver. We'll start talking about $40-something silver. Now, it could go the other way. Right, Jason? I mean, it could. Right? It could go that maybe it disappoints. I don't know. Right? And then all of a sudden, hey, maybe we'll catch our breath here. But there is so much in the world. And like I said, it doesn't matter. There's so many. It feels like there's 100, 200, sometimes overwhelming thousands of different things. And almost all of them say gold and silver is going to be the place to be no matter what happens, Jason. I mean, that's just, we're in this cycle right now where especially, obviously, we're going to talk a lot about silver because, listen, I've been telling you, begging you, please, 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 please do this, do this, do this. Jason, I think we're going to see a significantly higher commodity cycle than most people are ever planning for and are going to wonder what in the world is happening. We're going to try to make sense of it when we get back. (800-951-0592) Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason on this Monday. Quick look in here at the markets. The Dow's down 330 right now. The S&P's down 32. The NASDAQ down 79. Again, the story of the day. What in the world is going on in the bond markets? The U.S. 10-year note almost up a full basis point. This is happening more and more. And again, the bond market's not supposed to really move like this. It's supposed to be very, very deep, very liquid, which means you don't get big moves ordinarily. Have to be something big with it. Like, as an example, if today Israel had bombed Iran and blew up its oil ports and all this other stuff, you would expect a big move in the bond market. And it would probably be lower. That would be my guess. But there's no news today. There's none. And yet, here we have this big move to the upside. Now, we're going to get some Fed governors talking this week. I'm sure the 50 basis point rate cuts are probably, at least this week, off the table. They'll probably come back next week, but don't worry. But the bond market, again, I think the lack of liquidity is really what is starting to shine through. Crude oil is higher today, but still only around $70. Depending on where you look for gold right this second, I'll tell you that gold's down $2. Gold's been as high as $27.40. Right now it's at $27.20. If you look on TV, gold's going to be higher. And the December gold, $27.40. December silver, $33.85. Like I said, silver has been even higher than that today. Been as high as $34. But I've been telling everybody for a long time, please get more diversified. Be smart. Don't be dumb here. Don't sit and not do anything. It's different. Check out our friends at Y Refi. Why? Because I tell you, you get up to 10.25% fixed rate of return, not correlated to Wall Street. But, Joe, Wall Street's been so good. I mean, gold and silver have been better, but look, I mean, Wall Street's been great. And it has. It has, absolutely. What's Wall Street going to do next 5 or 10 years? I mean, none of us know. But according to Goldman Sachs, they're now saying that they only anticipate a 3% annual return from the stock market for the next 10 years. So let's see. And I don't know that Goldman's, I don't think we're going to see 3%, but we'll see. Would you rather have 3% or 10.25? Would you rather make 30% over 10 years or double your money, right, over 10 years? I think it's pretty simple. Check them out. InvestYRefi.com. That's the word invest, the letter Y, REFY.com. Or just call them at 888-Y-REFI-24, 888-973-3924. But Jason Goldman, this is Goldman's way of saying, hey, Joe and Jason are pretty smart guys. Because we've been saying, we're not preparing for this year. Matter of fact, we thought that Wall Street would hit all-time highs before the end of the year, and it's done it again. But it's what comes after that we're getting ready for. And when you hear like T. Rowe Price saying the 10-year yield's going to go to 5% while the Fed's cutting rates, I mean, that's I don't think that's ever happened. I've never seen it happen. But this is indicative of the problems that we are facing. And I find it somewhere, we actually think 10 years from today, I think wherever the high is, and let's just take the high, we're going to hit a high, let's say the next 3 months, 6 months back, wherever that high number is. We may have already hit it. I don't know. I don't know if 10 years from now, Jason, we'll be back to the high. Now, Goldman says we'll be 30% higher, but this is something we've been warning about for a while.
Yeah, Joe, it's a lot of times before the markets start to tumble or have a real sell-off, it goes up, doesn't it, Joe? It just kind of spikes upward before it comes down. We've been looking at this for a while. You've done this longer than me, but I was talking to you this morning. To me, it's just I'm not really a big stock guy. I've never really liked paper assets that much. But when you want to know what the paper asset is going to do, don't you just watch the guys that are big in those things? Just watch what they're doing, and all I see is that they're selling and selling and selling. I can't believe the markets are as strong as they are with all the big fat cats selling, but I guess all the small dogs want to just keep buying into this thing, thinking, oh, it's record highs. This is where I'm going to put my money. People feel safe. I think that it's not even safe. There's a responsibility when you have this extra money at the end of your paycheck. Oh, I'm going to put it in the market, and it'll just grow. It's always just going to grow, and people feel safe there, Joe. And I mean, today the Dow is down pretty big. Is the sell-off starting now? I mean, Bank of America. I can't believe that thing is even still standing at all.
You think about what happened. Warren Buffett had finally sold enough shares to stop reporting. Then Bank of America buys back a bunch of shares, and Warren Buffett immediately sells more shares. He's still above 10. Now he's back. I think he's back to like 10.2%, right? He's trying desperately to get under this 10% threshold. He finally does it. And then Bank of America buys back a bunch of stock, pushing him back over the 10% threshold. And his response, I think, was very indicative. I'm just going to keep selling it. Right? I'm going to keep selling. That should really tell you a lot. Warren Buffett, say what you want. Say what you want about Warren Buffett. He's no idiot. And he seems to always, some people seem to be luckier than others, You know those people, right? They always seem to make the right move. That's Warren Buffett. He always seems to make the right move. Now, we can argue whether or not he's being told what the moves are, right? i.e. Nancy Pelosi could very well be. But the reality is, the guy always makes the right move. And what is he telling you? Well, yeah, You're right. Right? Not every single time, but pretty close. And, of course, what is he telling you? Don't own banks. Don't own banks.
Yep.
So what does that tell you? That means the system is in trouble. That means he sees dark days ahead. I think Warren Buffett sees exactly what's coming, Jason.
I heard, and I didn't know this. I don't investigate these fat cats too much, but I guess he had a pretty strong position in silver in the 1990s. So that was a call that I think he made wrong because silver didn't really do good in the 90s. So I think he lost on that one. From what this one guy, a couple of guys I was listening to over the weekend, Joe, sounds like he's positioned himself back in silver again. Very quietly. He doesn't want to tell anybody. I don't think he's going to get a 10% in silver, but I heard he's the guy that hates gold, right? I heard he's positioning himself back into silver. Isn't that interesting? As it goes up $2 an ounce Friday.
Well, and again, he's been in the silver markets before. Sometimes not great, other times pretty well. Is he in it again? I don't know. Right? He doesn't have to tell. Like Bank of America, he has to tell until he gets back below 10%. But I think the big fear here now, go back to the 70s. Right? When silver went on that huge run, and they were, the Hunt brothers are cornering the market. And, of course, remember we had the oil embargo and all of those things happening. But there's a new thing going on. We've talked about it, I don't know how many times, right? The demand for silver is insatiable right now. A lot of it having to do with the green stuff. We'll call it robotics. We'll call it solar. We'll call it wind. We'll call it electronic cars, semi-computers, data warehousing, right? These are all the buzzwords. And guess what? They all need silver. Guess what else needs silver? War needs silver. And I've been explaining to you, silver's in a supply deficit. Matter of fact, this is year 3. And unfortunately for everybody, they already know 2025 is going to be worse. And 2026 is going to be worse than that. There's nothing that can happen to change it. They already know, okay, this is the most silver we can get out of the ground. We know about, now, could demand shift a little here and a little there? Yeah, but not as much as people think. But then there was this announcement last week. We talked about it here. That Russia, who, by the way, they're not insignificant in silver production. Russia is a heavy resource-rich country. As an example, the United States. Do you know that we need to import 80% of all the silver that we need? Think about China, the largest silver consumer in the world, mostly because they make most of the stuff. They're also the second largest silver producer in the world. Here's what's interesting about China. Guess what? They're the number one gold producer in the world, the number one gold importer in the world. They don't even export gold. They don't really export silver outside of, in finished products. And then you think about, well, who else is there? Well, Russia's right next to them. Pretty close. They mine a lot of silver. They mine a lot of gold. You see where we're going with it. But Russia has upped the ante here. That Russia has now announced that they plan to capitalize on silver's undervaluation relative to gold. In saying that Russia is going to start adding gold or silver to its reserve holdings alongside of gold. And by the way, they also threw in platinum and palladium. They pretty much said, hey, we're going to start buying all four of them. Well, if silver's in a supply shortage, Russia's going to start buying. How much are we talking about here? Where's silver heading? 800-951-0592. Yeah, I was down 400. You're not going to keep gold and silver down. Both of them back in positive territory. We'll see how the day plays out. But we're focusing again on silver. Of course, we've got the BRICS summit coming this week. Russia now announcing that it is going to allocate 51 billion rubles annually for the purchase of precious metals through 2027. So Russia, listen, they didn't just say, "Hey, we're gonna do this for a little bit." Right? We're going to do this for a little bit. They announced we're going to do it for 3 straight years. We're going to do it in 2025, 2026, 2027, laying out a very clear path to what it intends to do. This is probably going to trigger a domino effect. I don't believe, Jason, that Russia is doing this alone. My guess is, we already know the Chinese are buying all the silver they can buy, so they don't have to say anything, right? They're already buying it, right? They don't even bother putting it in a bar form. Just give us the concentrate. We'll pay you above price. Get it here. But my guess is other BRICS allies are probably going to do the same. My guess will be the Saudis, UAE, Brazil, right? India, right? These are going to be countries that I'll look at as probably do. Now, they're going to do it quietly versus the way the Russians are going to do it. But, Jason, this, how important is this? They're talking about a silver squeeze that will see silver potentially take out the new all-time highs in the next 6 months. I mean, this isn't 6 years, 6 months. I mean, that's. I mean, can we really sit there and say, gosh, silver may double in the next 6 months? The answer is it absolutely could, and it could do so very easily.
I don't think we see silver in the 40s if it gets to 40 here soon. I don't think it stays in the 40s at all, hardly. I think it goes to the top of the 40s range, and then whether it holds below or above 50 will be the only question. Hey, $48, $49 right? I just see it tripping $38 or $37 and just racing right to 49, and then we'll see if it decides to hold there. So I think what they're saying, what they're seeing is the same thing I see, which is there's a range there that just doesn't have a lot of support to hold it down It's either in the 30s or lower, or it's right there at 50 or higher. So I don't see 45 silver as like a real holding point, Joe.
You know, it's interesting because that would make sense. Remember the last time silver got to 50? It really barely was in the 40s at all. It was either in the 30s or it was 50. This time around, right, we didn't have the Green Deal, right? We didn't have the green stuff, the electric cars the last time around. We have it this time, right? Remember the last time the demand was pretty much people buying, Silver Eagles and junk silver, right? That was a lot of big demand. The industrial demand was kind of flat. Not now. Not anymore. Here's what we're going to do today. I am absolutely 100% convinced we will have all-time record high silver prices in the next 18 months. Record high. Problem is, it could be December. I don't know. It could be next month. It could be at any point, because I'm telling you, the supply just simply isn't there. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it simple. Buy 10 rolls of anything, silver. 10 rolls of rounds, 10 rolls of Silver Eagles, 10 rolls of quarters, 10 rolls of half dollars. Take $5 off a roll. 10 rolls of dime, you only get to take off $2.50. You want to buy 10 5-ounce silver bars? Great. Get them for $5 less. So just going down the list here. Rolls of dimes are at $140, man. Whew. These metals plans are going to get real tough, Jason. Real tough in the future here. If you buy 10 rolls of dimes, save $2.50. Save $2.50 a roll. Rolls of silver quarters, $2.80. Buy 10 rolls, $2.75. Rolls of half dollars, $2.90. 10 rolls, $2.85. American Silver Eagles. I don't know that we'll see under $800 again. If we do, it'll be very briefly. I don't see it. Because here's the problem with silver. Right now, at around $34 silver, you're closing in on $38 for a cost for a dealer like us. But it's going to be over 40, but you got to make a little bit. $835. Buy 10 rolls or more, $830. Jason, this is what we're looking at, and I know, and I say it, I'm not the big silver lover, but I love it right now. I think we knew silver was way undervalued. Just look at it, my logic this way. Let's take $2,750, because that's where December gold is, $2,750. And I told you that silver at the worst should be 65 ounces for every ounce of gold. With Russia's announcement, I think this is going to challenge silver going below 50 to 1. Absolutely could see that. But it's 65 to 1. Where gold is where it is right now. Right? December gold. 2,700. Well, it's 2,740. That puts silver at $42.15. If silver breaks 35, remember what I told you was going to happen when silver broke 32? I told you. Silver breaks $35. We will see $40 very, very quickly. And by the way, I got news for you. Silver's going to break $35. And I think Jason's probably right. Once it breaks 40, it probably just goes to 50. 800-951-0592. For how many weeks have I been telling you it's an all-out buy on silver? We'll be back. 800-951-0592. Yeah, Russia's going to put the hammer on these banks. You know, it's another weapon that they're going to use here by announcing what they're going to be doing with silver, platinum, palladium. We know the U.S. banks are big shorters, paper shorters of these markets. And I'm just wondering, are they going in for a kill shot here? Don't be surprised. By the way, this week, what's important this week? BRICS, which starts tomorrow, ends on Thursday. We're going to get mortgage applications and existing home sales on Wednesday. Jobless claims and PMI, new home sales on Thursday. The home sales numbers are probably not going to be very good, right? Just by what we're seeing and, of course, what interest rates are doing. And then Friday, we'll get durable goods on Friday. Like I said, so not a ton of important economic data. You know, it's going to be BRICS. I think we know what housing's going to be. Jobless claims should be interesting. And then durable goods. My guess is durable goods may not be great because of Boeing, but normally we'll get the number less aircraft, I think, will be important. And if it's a good number, which it could be, look for even higher rates. I mean, it really is kind of shocking when you're sitting here going, okay, 10-year nut now is almost at 4.18 now, up a full point here. And gold isn't down. Very unusual. Normally, right, what do we, higher rates usually means stronger dollar. But the issue this time around is, why is it higher? And we're not higher in rates and yields from a position of strength. This almost looks like the bond market is telling the Fed, hey, dummies, you're blowing it again. Remember the warning from Bank of America, Mark Cubano. We played that for you. The same warning that he issued in 2019, Jason, he's issuing it again. Saying, hey, we're going to have another bond tantrum. I'll give you 6 months. And it's funny, T. Rowe Price is now calling for a 5% yield. And all of a sudden, Jason, we're starting to hear about when is quantitative easing going to start again. And it really looks like they're talking about April. Of course, April, that's tax time. Right? This is supposed to be, when the Treasury gets a refill. But the problem with tax time is, where does that money come out of? It comes out of banks. Right? All these corporations are paying their taxes. All of these people are paying their taxes. They're writing checks. That means that money that was sitting in those bank accounts goes away. And now they're saying, because the banks are going to be left with so much of these auctions, they won't have the capital to do it. And that quantitative easing is going to need to come back, Jason.
It's all going to come back. I think the late March, early April is when the government's going to have to try to figure out what kind of budget they're going to put together and how much huge amounts of money they're going to spend. April seems like an eternity away when it comes to how much spending is going to need to be done to float whatever boats they're floating from D.C. So that's going to happen as well. And I have a feeling, when things keep accelerating like this, people start to look at the future a little more. Hey, things are inflating. Things keep becoming more expensive. yeah, we probably should budge. This will help us for our spending needs today, but we need to look at 6 months as being way worse, so we need more. That's what those dock workers strike, that's what that was about. They wanted 76% or whatever it was, 6 years, right, Joe? Because they know that it's just going to get worse.
Well, look at Boeing machinists, 35% 4 years. 35% in 4 years, right? They're basically saying, listen, inflation's 10%. I mean, this is what we're hearing.
I think it's more than 10%. At least, I think right at this moment where we're sitting, technically it's probably less than 10. I think it was way more than 10% before this year, and I think it's going to be way more than 10% next year. I don't think they're going to be happy with their agreements just a year from today, Joe. I mean, the strikes, the auto worker strike was last year. I think they the auto companies did well because I think the inflation's way above what the pay raises were for the auto workers. So they're going to probably be back in strike mode again. This is inflation. When you raise the amount you pay the workers, that's one of the clear indications. More than even food and other things. If you have to pay people more, all the company's going to do is just charge the consumer. That's all there is to it. It's simple.
I expect this to be a big tax year because Wall Street profits was good. Gold and silver, great, right? I mean, there's going to be a lot of tax money. I think if it's not a record, it'll be right next to one. That sounds like a great thing. Yet, now all of a sudden people are looking and going, oh my God, this is going to be terrible. The amount of money that's going to leave the banks is going to put horrible pressure on the bond market, and the Fed is going to have to come in and save the day again. Yeah. $50 silver, $3,000 gold, that's probably low. Patriot Radio News Hour will be back after the break. 800-951-0592. I'll say this. Don't let the next 2 weeks go by without you buying more silver. Period. Don't do it. I got to be buying gold too, but that's just me. Don't do it. Premiums alone, when this election is over, they're going to go back to normal. $50 silver with normal premiums, you may have to pay $60. Have to pay $60. Not may, you will. You'll pay $60. You'll pay over $60. Don't pay that. Today, anything silver, 10 rolls of anything silver, $5 off, except dimes, 10 rolls of dimes, because, dimes there's not that much. They're half the amount of silver that a roll of quarters or a roll of $half are. $2.50 off on dimes. Everything else, quarters, $half, silver eagles, rounds, 5-ounce silver bars. Buy 10 of any of them, save $5 per roll, per bar, $5. So think about it. That's a $50 savings. Right? You buy 20 rolls of dimes, you'll save $50. Right? 10 rolls, anything else, you're going to save $50. 800-951-0592. Like I said, I've been doing this a long time. I'm pretty good at it. I'm not perfect. I'm not, Nancy Pelosi. I'm pretty good at this. And I'm telling you right now, it is going to go, and it is going to go very big, very soon. And it's not because, listen, I'm not even throwing in World War III. I'm not throwing in Israel bombs Iran's all its oil ports and oil's $150. No, I'm not throwing in any type of economic shock. No, I forget. Everything just goes where it's going. You got to have a new record high in silver, and you're going to have it soon. 800-951-0592. Jason, that's about as simple as I can make it. I can't make it any better than that.
No, and let's just look at other inflative history, which is the 70s. Silver in 1978 held like an average price of $5.50, and then it shot to 50. So 10x. Now, yeah, it did come down. It got overbought because of the Hunt brothers, but we're seeing a surge. We're seeing inflation that matches 1980, 1981. So, Joe, if we just say silver $25 was kind of where it was sitting, it is possible to do the same thing as 1980. A 10x would be $250 silver. Maybe it comes back to 125, but wouldn't you be glad you bought it at 40 or 35, or today 33 or 34, and you bought it spikes, it comes down, my silver's only $125 an ounce now. I think that's very likely what we're looking at, and it could take a year, right? It could take just 6 months. Joe's talking about busting through $50. That could happen this year. You could hit $50 very quickly in silver. So, Joe, we're going to see this thing move, and it's just a matter of timing. When is the emergency the world hits us with going to spike everything even faster?
And it was going higher regardless. The Russia announcement, that's the game changer. And like I said, I don't think they're operating in a vacuum. I think they've got friends that are going to be doing it with them. So look out. 800-951-0592. Jason and I, we're coming right back with the half